On or around December 2025 in Los Angeles County, California, investigators say a 12-year-old girl began communicating online with an 18-year-old from Pennsylvania named Matthew Edward Pysher. What started as messages on Discord would later become the center of a federal case, after agents say they found Pysher and the girl together in a motel room in Castaic, California. Before we walk through the verified timeline, a quick note. If you want more fact-checked case breakdowns like this, timeline first, court records second, hit like, subscribe, and share. It helps the courtroom reach more people, and it helps these stories get told responsibly. According to federal prosecutors and a sworn affidavit filed with the criminal complaint, the two communicated from at least December 2025 through February 2026. Authorities say Pysher allegedly pressured the girl to send sexually explicit material and also encouraged acts of self-harm, messages her family later discovered. Investigators say he used the username Piano Man on Discord. By February 10, 2026, the girl's mother contacted the FBI, telling agents she believed her daughter was being encouraged to hurt herself by someone named Matthew she had met on Discord. From there, investigators began gathering devices and looking for digital evidence that could identify who was behind the account and how close the situation was to turning into a real-world emergency. According to the affidavit, an FBI agent went to the family's home around late morning to collect the girl's devices. Soon after, the mother called again. Her daughter had run away, and a family member had found a note indicating she intended to harm herself. Investigators moved quickly, treating it as a missing child crisis with a clock that was actively ticking down. Inside the girl's room, her mother found a slip of paper with a phone number. Investigators sent emergency disclosure requests to identify who was using it. Records tied that number to email accounts linked to Matthew Pysher, with addresses in eastern Pennsylvania. Location data showed the phone moving from Pennsylvania into the Los Angeles area, and investigators matched it to airline information indicating Pysher had flown from the Philadelphia area to Los Angeles that same day. With that location data, law enforcement canvassed motels in the Castaic area. Surveillance footage led them to a room at the Roadway Inn Motel. When officers entered, citing the imminent danger to the child, they found the girl and Pysher inside. Investigators say items in the room and a boarding pass in Pysher's name supported their belief he had traveled to meet her. The girl was recovered alive. In interviews described in the affidavit, she told investigators she met Pysher near her home and was taken to the motel, where she said she was harmed and sexually assaulted. She also told law enforcement, according to the complaint, that the pair had discussed a suicide plan, reportedly involving jumping from a tall building, before authorities intervened. Federal prosecutors filed a criminal complaint charging Pysher with travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the charge is punishable by up to 30 years in federal prison if convicted. Authorities also said, based on their review of digital evidence, that they believe the conduct was consistent with what they described as nihilistic violent extremist ideology, referencing an online network sometimes labeled 764. Investigators have publicly framed it as a pattern of online exploitation aimed at coercion, humiliation, and harm, especially targeting minors. As of the latest available information, this case is still in its earliest stage. It's not a conviction. It's the start of the formal process. Next steps typically include an initial court appearance, detention and bail arguments, and prosecutors deciding whether to seek an indictment. Investigators have also urged anyone who believes they may be another victim to contact law enforcement. And for parents, this case is a blunt reminder of how quickly online contact can move from private messages to real-world danger. One final note matters here. These are allegations contained in a federal complaint and affidavit. The defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.